you've got this fractured industry, everybody all over the place, and the opportunity to leverage a mastermind, put in back office services, share marketing, share brand, share all kinds of stuff. And Blair got into it with me about how he had researched all the different franchises, and everybody told him no, it's too complicated, it won't work. But the more difficult it is, the more valuable it's going to be when you are able to solve that problem. And the market for it was huge. And this is we're just about at my 10-year anniversary. So it was very exciting to hear about this, to learn about, to compare what he wanted to do with consolidation in other verticals. And when we looked at it, we could not find an example of a vertical or an industry that hadn't been through some form of consolidation, where you either had big players buying up smaller players, or leveraged services or collaborations of some kind. Every single industry has them, and some of the most successful brands are built around that. And so I was hooked. I spent the next few, I would say, weeks or months. It's hard for me to tell because I was in the middle of 5 back surgeries at that time, which is that's a completely different show. Pretty much crippled and doing the wrong stuff to manage pain, or doing what I had to do to manage pain, I guess you could say. But it ended up, I wanted to poke holes in it. So I went to people I knew who were business people related to the construction industry. And without a doubt, every single person that I explained this awesome idea to was 100% of the belief that there was no way that would ever possibly work, and that it sounded like a pyramid scheme. And why don't you just, if you want to be a builder, why don't you just get software? I'm like, I don't want to be a builder. I just think that there's opportunity to go and meet a whole bunch of builders and change their lives by putting all this horsepower into them. And at the time, it wasn't even horsepower yet. It was just an idea. There wasn't even an office in Ontario. There was maybe 4 or 5 Alair offices that had started out in Nanaimo, BC. And here it was, the seed of an idea. But we just had a call this week. There's 100 Alair locations across North America now. And I'm very fortunate to collaborate with some really high level builders. And when I say that, I don't mean, I don't instinctually mean that they're high level from a quality or caliber standpoint. They definitely are. But what's more impactful to me is how high level they are in terms of what they want to achieve with their business, how they're driven to create opportunity for other people. The mindset that we're attracting, that's what makes it fun for me, because you get to a point where you want to be able to pick and choose who you're spending your time with, who you're supporting, who you're elevating, and who's going on that mission with you. And like I said, I'm really fortunate to have found that sort of environment right now with a group of people who are, putting the pedal down and doing it for all the right reasons, and have created this so much momentum. And it's such an accelerant for problem solving, for growing, to be able to have access to this mastermind. So probably gave you a little bit too much info there.
No, I love it. And last night when I was looking up the location map of Alair Homes, I was just amazed. You guys are all over North America. What's the advantage to builders to having, to partner with Alair? I mean, what did they get out of the arrangement?
Yeah, and it's very often the first question, whether you're asking it like as from the third party standpoint or them asking, what do I get out of Alair? And the right question is, what could we do with it, or what could you do with it? And that takes understanding it first. So I can share with you what I see others do and why, what it's meant to them, and how it happens, which I think is far more powerful than, hey, what am I going to get out of it?
Hmm.
And it's really what we do is help a business owner and their team or their company delve into untapped potential through collaboration with a mastermind and not have to do everything themselves. It's when you look at the traditional custom home builder, they're they are wearing like 11 hats and stressed out. Most of them don't have the proper systems and structure in place, and they're just on a treadmill. And their businesses, you don't meet too many custom home builders or remodelers that have sold their business, have had a graceful exit. Most of them just shut the door because who wants to buy that life?
Hmm.
And it's a lot of pressure on them because they need to have be able to provide leadership for every single aspect of the business, and that may not be their specialty, or may not be their passion. Um, so you find a lot of builders that will not sacrifice quality and that artisan feel, where they want to be that craftsman style builder, and they know, hey, I can't scale that because other people won't, you know, do it as well as me, so it has to always be me. So we really, when I'm looking at it or interviewing a builder, I'm looking at it from the standpoint of, hey, who are you? What do you want to achieve? Who's on your team? And what do they need? How are you creating opportunity for them? And what is your highest and best use as a person? What should you be doing in your business? And what do you want out of it? Like, do you want to have a valuable asset, or do you want are you trying to create more free time? And then, from there, there's about 20 different things that we dig into and get right under the hood with them to figure out what they've done already, what they've tried, what's working now, what's not working, what they believe, where their belief, where they may need to see some proof, where they may need some encouragement to look at something. Because you get a lot of, at first when we didn't have a lot of notoriety we weren't well known at all. Everybody thought, franchise. We just did a podcast called, talking about the F word. Um, and builders said, no, franchise is for people who can't run a business, or, for people who want to get into a business. It's like, okay, well, what it was, we quickly saw was very different. It was that people thought that they were losing who they were. And when the model was created, it was important to Blair and the first guys in it. It all started as a mastermind, actually. It's a franchise by accident, because it was the only structure that would allow this mastermind to exist. So being able to tap into that mastermind and grow is something that people didn't really understand at first. They thought it was just systems and structure and all that sort, or that they were going to have to buy their lumber or their nails, or they would have to use this HVAC company. It's not that at all.
Yeah, like a traditional franchise, if you want to
Yeah,
open a McDonald's, you've got to buy their stuff, right, from their
right.
suppliers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like pizza dough or whatever. So
Hmm.
we call it the accidental franchise, sometimes the unfranchise, because they really turned what the industry thought it was on its head and said, no, you are still yourself. You're your team. We're just going to take the stuff off your plate that you're not good at, you're not passionate about, and that if left to your own devices, you probably wouldn't even do. And you're for sure not going to maintain it or stay on the cutting edge of it. Well, imagine if you had every single aspect of a custom home building business was constantly being worked on by a whole hive of committed and passionate people. So I often liken it to, depending on where I am, if I'm in if I'm in the Carolinas, I'll say it's like a NASCAR team. If I'm somewhere else, I might say a Formula One team because I'm much more of a Formula One fan. But it's like taking somebody who says, why would I go that? I already know how to drive. It's like, this is not the same. This is not the same thing. And you cannot do what you're doing without a team. I think Mark Messier's got a podcast like nobody does it alone, or a book. It's like, if you want to really achieve, stop trying to do it all on your own. Be a leader and create opportunity, and make sure that your team has access to resources and infrastructure that give them the opportunity to win. And that's what Alair has done. And it's like I said, we just passed 100 offices, so that's pretty exciting.